It's worth mentioning this now because I don't know if I've been talking about this a lot or how much this has been discussed, but Super Mario Bros. Wonder is continuing to do well into the holiday season, right? It's number one best-selling game on Amazon right now. It's topping the Switch eShop. This game is going to do gangbusters this holiday season, and I would like everyone to kind of recall what happened when this game was first shown off, right? Where you saw every single streamer come out and say, this isn't a major Switch release. This isn't going to do well. This isn't a big deal. This is going to be the last game Nintendo puts out until the Switch 2 comes out, right? That was the narrative. And here we are, like a couple of months later, post launch. I'm 1% of the game at this point. It's my personal pick for the best game release this year, my game of the year, right? And I'm seeing people just discover this game for the first time every day. And it's becoming more and more apparent to me that this game is going to be a phenomenon, that it is a big deal, that it is successful, that it is popular, right? And I do want to take a moment to step back and kind of talk about what happened, with the new Super Mario Bros. Games and the narrative that's been kind of established since they came out, because this is not a new thing. New Super Mario Bros., 2D Mario has always been popular, right? There has never been a time where this stuff hasn't done well. But gaming journalists have gaslit you into thinking that, like, 2D Mario is so played out and so tired that people would not be interested in a new 2D Mario game. Why would I get a 2D game when I could get a 3D one? Like, completely underappreciating the value of, like, 2D Mario, the creativity it brings. Like, how many people, like, first video game is Super Mario Bros., right? Like, kind of understating just what makes these games so successful, like completely underrating just how distinct 2D and 3D Mario is, right? Kind of writing it off as simply like 3D Mario is more technically demanding, so that makes it better. But instead, what happened is that Super Mario Bros. Is actually more popular than 3D Mario, right? New Super Mario Bros. Sold like 30 million. We did really well. U Deluxe has sold like 18 mil, on Switch alone. Like that came out like years after the original Ryu release, which also did fairly well, right? Like all of these games are hugely successful, very popular, and yet somehow there's this genuine belief among the community that like it's just grandmas buying these games for their kids who don't actually play them, right? Like this is a game that nobody plays, allegedly, in spite of the fact that they're like that they sell millions of units, that they're like so played all the time, right? Yeah, they keep getting sequels, like nobody plays them, according to like the geniuses at NeoGAF, right? These are games with no real value to them, and yet not only do they sell for a very, very, very long period of time, right? Like I would be Super Mario Bros. Wonder is going to be really interesting to see because this is going to be the Switch game that comes out in 2023 that I think is going to have the longest legs behind it. Like I could see this doing like several million units, like a quarter, right? I could see this like, cracking like 30 million sold, going on to 40 million, like before the end of the Switch life cycle, right? Like this is going to be something that does very, very well over a long period of time. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't appreciate about Nintendo titles because like there are quite a few titles like this. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the one that people have really noticed in recent years, but it's also true for Animal Crossing New Horizons and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe and a handful of other games. But like these Nintendo games will keep doing well for long, long, long periods of time, right? These aren't games from other studios where they come out and are forgotten within a month. They're not Spider-Man 2, they're not Baldur's Gate 3, they're not Alan Wake 2. Like no, these games are going to be mainstays on the on the platform for years. And if like the Wii U to Switch transition is any indication, they're going to be mainstays on the next Nintendo platform as well, right? Like these games are downright juggernauts. They are huge deals, right? They are just the reasons to get a Switch, right? And it's so weird to me to see like people looking at these games, looking at games like Mario Wonder, and seriously trying to convince themselves that like, oh, this is a budget title. This proves that Switch is going to put out the new piece of hardware soon. Because that was kind of the thinking going into this, right? The wishful thinking from like the Pretendo crowd, from like, the Arlos and the RGT 85s and the Review Tech USAs, like who came out and tried to say that like the Max dudes, like these guys who came out and tried to say this looks like a budget game, I bet they're gonna release Switch 2 early next year, right? That it's gonna come soon, like the this is gonna be the last Nintendo Direct ever, right? And of course that didn't happen. Now we're sitting and waiting for new information on like the next wave of upcoming Switch games, but it's pretty clear that like the Switch isn't going anywhere, right? We're getting a lot more games in the near future. Mario versus Donkey Kong, Trace Memory, Under Night in Birth. We're getting like Ace Attorney collection, the Apollo Justice collection. Like we're getting like Unicorn Overlord, Princess Peach Showtime, like all kinds of crazy games coming out on Switch, but people are really trying to gaslight you into thinking the console is losing steam. Like, really? And they're going to use Mario Wonder of all things to do it. Like, I really want you to like think about this as we go into next year, right? As we wait for like the software to update and the journos and the YouTubers like trying to damage control why the Switch 2 hasn't come here yet. Like we're gonna see them like cope and seethe in the near future when like it becomes more obvious that the Switch 2 isn't coming this year. But like I really want you to like process what happened over the past couple of months and just how ridiculous it was that Mario Wonder was treated the way it did. Because none of these people treated it like Mario Wonder like it was an actual valid game, like it was actually worth your time, that it was something to look forward to, that it was something exciting. Like they tried treating it like an afterthought. They tried treating it like it was gonna be a failure and that Nintendo couldn't possibly make it sell well, and that like there was no real interest in the game, and that like it wasn't a big deal, that it wasn't very exciting, right? Like I've seen dozens of examples of people doing this, right? And like I want you to remember that as we go into next year, as we see these people like adjust the narrative and continue moving to the next step for like their plan to like normalize Nintendo in the community. Like it is completely unacceptable that these people wrote off Mario Wonder the way they did.